Hey guys, Jen here today, and I wanted to do a real quick card tutorial with you guys. I'm in the middle of getting stuff set up for my Halloween card series, which will be my first ever card series, and today I wanted to do one with this Critters from the Past stamp set from Lawn Fawn. I was inspired by, I believe it was Kelly over at Lawn Fawn. She did a similar card style. I'll link the video below that inspired it. But for my first, I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek of my first Halloween card set because I'm gonna do a similar layout. So this is the first card that will be coming to you starting next Saturday. So the first Saturday of September, you guys will get a video on this. And so today I wanted to do a similar themed card, like I said, using this. Alright, let's get started. So the first thing I am going to do is measure out my card panel that I'm going to do my stamping on based on the card panel from that trick or treat card that I showed you guys in the beginning. I'm just using a pencil real quick to measure before I decide to cut it up, because I want it to be roughly about the same size, because like I said, this card is going to be very, very similar in design, almost exactly the same in design as that trick or treat card. But I figured, why not? You know, you can always reuse designs and just make different cards, right? At least that's why I'm looking at it. Just using my little Fiskars paper trimmer right here. I kind of wish this one was longer than 5 inches because I would use it a whole lot more, but it works for what I was doing here. As you can see, I kind of sped things up because it was going really slow. I watched this back and I was like, okay. The video was, I think, over 30 minutes long before I did all of this, so I wanted to speed it up for you guys so you're not just sitting here all day. I took the egg from that Critters from the Past stamp set, and I'm just stamping it randomly, turning it every which direction so that way it doesn't look the same. Now I am pulling out my Sizzix circle dies and my Lawn Fawn scallop circle dies, and I'm going to just kind of see where I need to stop, because there's no point in stamping behind where some additional colored cardstock is going to be. So now I'm pulling out that little completely solid footprint, and I'm just doing the same thing, and then I'm just going to stamp it everywhere. So if I could do something differently looking back, I would have used the outline footprint that comes with the set instead of this solid footprint, because I would have colored the feet differently. Probably would have colored them like a light purple. Here you see me using my big, what is that? That is I totally just blanked. The Faber-Castell Pit Artist pen, because the other thing I would have done differently was use my VersaFine black ink instead of this Memento, because it did not stamp completely solid like I was hoping. Here I'm using another one in a size 1.5 to kind of fix that little circle there at the end, because it was not dark enough either. Now I'm going to take an additional piece of cardstock and I'm going to stamp out my dinosaur. I used my Misty, my mini Misty, because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to stamp it more than once. And if you got to stamp it more than once, the best thing to do is just use a Misty just in case, so that way it stays in the exact same place. I'm inking it up with my Memento ink because I'm going to use my Copics. And I got lucky and only had to stamp it once. So I really am thinking about getting that stamp chamois that Jennifer McGuire has. I also saw it on Hedgehog Hollow, and I'll link both channels below. I really like it for stamp cleaning, so I think I'm going to give that a try. So now I'm getting ready to die cut my dinosaur. I made a mistake and I die cut it before I colored it. When I realized that after I got done die cutting it, I literally kind of smacked myself in the head and was like, okay, well, that was dumb. Let's make this work. Right now I'm off screen looking for my new roll of Post-it tape that I bought at Staples. No, I did not buy it at Staples. I got it at Office Depot. the painter's tape I was using pulled up on one of my other images, and I didn't like that, so I decided to give this a try because I've been seeing it everywhere, and I really like it. It did not pull up on my paper at all, so I think I will keep using it. It's pretty good. Now I'm just going to use my Big Shot here real quick to die cut the image. I'm sorry for the table shaking. It looked like my camera was shaking, but it was just the table. My table's not very sturdy. So I had to die cut this image twice because the first time part of it did not die cut all the way through, but that was a quick fix because I didn't untape it from the paper. I just kind of pushed it up in the back to see if it popped out, and it didn't, so I just ran it through the machine again real quick. And that was me smacking myself in the head, realizing I should have colored it before I cut it. So here I am using my Copic markers. I have V06 and V09 to color my dinosaur in. I really like purple, so I figured why not. So I'm going to start doing a outline of the entire image with the lighter color, which would be the V06. And then I'm going to go over it with my V09 to start the shadowing. I'm still really new to my, to Copic Coloring, and I'm still working on it. I've watched several stampers that use theirs, and I'll link their channels below. Christy Gets Crafty, Crazy Paper Chick, and Jess Crafts, just to name a few. And I think Jennifer McGuire might have a couple of videos on her channel too. I've been watching them, trying to learn all I can about Copic coloring, and they've actually been a great help. But I just need more practice. Practice makes perfect, right? I forgot to zoom in during the coloring part on the actual camera. I will try to remember to do that the next time. I tried to do it in my video editing, and then it didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. So next time I will actually have to manually zoom in, so that way you guys can see the caps better and actually can see how I'm coloring, not just what you see right now, because it's not very detailed. Put my lids back on, and now I'm reaching for my colorless blender because under the back foot I kind of colored outside the lines. Sorry, my face is in the video, guys. I kind of colored outside the lines, and so I'm just using that colorless blender to push the color back in before I move on. I'm going to put my stamps back where they belong. I try to clean up as I go so that way it's not a huge mess and things are not in my way. Now I'm going to take a piece of Recollection 65-pound black cardstock. It's a scrap that I have from something else I was doing. And I'm going to die cut that slightly larger scalloped circle, reusing that piece of post-it tape. I talked really fast in my video yesterday that I posted on my haul, so I'm trying to remember to talk slower. I die cut this one twice just to be on the safe side. You see me there pushing my panel back in because the bottom platform had gotten too far and it wasn't going back through the machine. So now I am looking for a piece of white cardstock for the smaller circle that I thought I pulled out in the beginning. I couldn't find it, only to realize that I had used it to stamp and cut the dinosaur. So thankfully I have a lot of scraps of white cardstock, so it just took me a second to, when I realized what I had done, to just find another scrap and just continue moving forward. I try to get everything out that I need before the start of the video, so that way I'm not doing this kind of stuff where I'm completely off camera and you can't see what I'm doing. But I kind of failed at that a little bit today, but I tried. Gonna die cut that little circle real quick. Again, sorry for the shakiness. I need to figure out something for the table. It's not as stable as I would like. I probably just need to get some more of those Alex drawers and use those as legs and call it a day, because I really like having all those drawers. It's nice to be able to organize my stuff. But that's a video for a different day. So the first piece of pattern paper that I used to go as the background panel for my card was this polka dot piece from 7 Paper, and I'll see if I can link the pad in the description box below. But as I was kind of setting everything up, I realized that because it is the same colors as that stamped panel, I didn't quite like it because everything kind of blended together. Of course, I didn't realize that until after I had already cut it, and then I realized I cut it a little too small. So I went to use the other piece, and that's when I realized that they all kind of blended together. I like to use my pencil there to kind of figure out. I'm terrible at measuring, you guys, I really am. So I just put my stamped panel on there and guesstimated using a pencil, and then I am cutting along the pencil marks on the back of that piece of paper using, again, my little Fiskars paper trimmer. So this is when I realized that the panel was a little too small for what I liked. You can see me tapping my fingers there. I didn't get to see enough of the background that I liked, and I didn't like it. So then I'm going to reach for the other piece of paper. I got to tear off that perforated piece at the top. So also, my video is about to cut out for a second. I apparently still had extra stuff on this memory card that I was recording on, and my camera just stopped recording. And it does it again for a second time in about a minute or so, which is kind of annoying. So the lesson learned here is I need to make sure that my memory cards are good to go before I start filming, especially because these videos, before I speed them up and everything, take about 30 minutes or longer to do. So I pulled out this basic paper pad from, I think it's from Paper Studios. Again, I'll see if I can link it below, and it's got a whole bunch of different colors. I decided to do purple to go with the dinosaur there, and it was me flipping through the different patterns of purple, and I chose this two-tone stripe. So again, I took the bigger piece of that initial pattern paper. I like the size of it. I made a couple marks to make sure that this piece of pattern paper is the exact same size, and I'm just going to cut it real quick. I also realized that I could have just used a regular piece of purple cardstock, but I didn't think about that until I was already halfway through doing this part, and I was like, oh, well, good job. I need to expand my colored cardstock collection as well. Hopefully I will have some after next week. I'm going to make another order and have another haul video for you. I realized that that piece of pattern paper was a little bit longer than the card base I was using, which is just a standard A2 card size. So I just measured it real quick. I put both pieces on the paper trim, removed the card, and then cut it to the right size. Here I'm using my Tombow Mono Aqua glue to put that panel down, and then I'm just going to place a stamp block over it real quick to help it kind of set while I start gluing down other things. Luckily, I have a couple pieces to glue together so I can kind of let things sit under a stamp block for a minute. So I had to go get my colorless blender again because the part that was that bled through the line bled through really badly, and I think it got worse after the first time. So I just touched it up real quick with that colorless blender. And I was getting ready to glue the dinosaur down to that white panel. Decided I didn't like the white panel very much. And I pulled out my my little tin of Distress ink. So I am off camera right now looking for this binder that I have, where I have stamped out all of the different shades of Distress ink that I have off of a Tim Holt. It's something I got from Ranger, and I'll link it below. just to kind of test and see what color I wanted out of my various shades of purple. And I decided on, I believe that it's Seedless Preserve that I decided, because it's a kind of bold and bright purple color, which I feel matches the dinosaur pretty good. And I'm just using a paper towel to hold on to the circle so that way I don't get fingerprints in that circle, and then I don't transfer that ink anywhere else, because I'm pretty good at getting distress ink on my fingers and then getting it everywhere else. I'm trying not to ruin the card, so I just put the little foam piece at the bottom because it fits in perfectly. That was me testing to see if I needed if I needed to use the black soot that I pulled out. I decided that I did just a little bit, just to darken it up. It's kind of a medium between the color of the dinosaur and that black paper. And I like that a lot better. So now I'm going to glue down the dinosaur, and then I'm going to glue it to that black scallop circle. It's going to hang off a little bit, and I'm totally okay with that. That's why the scallop circle is there, because the dinosaur was a little bit bigger than I intended it to be. Now I got to glue down that stamped panel, and that's when I realized that I kind of wish I had done a little more color instead of just plain black footprints, but I learned for next time, because I have another dinosaur themed card in mind for a friend of mine who happens to love pterodactyls, so you will be seeing this stamp set again here soon. So I just used that stamp block over the top and I pushed it down, and real quick I'm going to, well, put some stuff away because my desk is very messy. And then I'm going to pull out this stamp that says "Your Dino-Mite." And I'm going to stamp it on the inside of the card there. I pulled out another stamp block I have that has some lines on it. That way I can make sure that my sentiment is straight. Stamped that as close to the center as I could without actually measuring it. And now I'm going to do the clear footprints as if a little dinosaur had been walking there. And then that card is done. I'm going to show you guys a close-up real quick of the cover and then the inside. And that is that. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully I'm going to try for Wednesday for the next card. And if not, I'll see you guys next Saturday for the start of my Halloween series. Have a good day.